doing? Welcome to season 2, episode 4 of the Hoopers Delight podcast. I got that one right. How we doing today, baby?
We're doing wonderful. Got back from Portland. We're here for you guys to drop another banging episode for you guys.
Well, speaking of banging, bro, tell me about that outfit real quick before we get into the sponsorship.
For those that don't know, this is the Donovan Sainer pro jersey for his first pro contract that he had signed last year. Had to rep him. Shout out to the Meridian boys. Shout out to all the Sainers. TJ, we miss you. We love you. Donovan, keep going. He's about to go back over there and get another season in with a team actually in the Tri-Cities.
Heck yeah.
And then Coach Sainer, you already know what it is. Our guy. Keep going, keep coaching. We love you guys.
Yeah, and I had to throw in the Wyoming. Shout out to Zoe Blackwell, who we'll talk a little bit about who our girls player of the year is, defensive player of the year. Zoe Blackwell committed to Wyoming. This is my Maddie Simmons jersey. We're going to touch on her brother, Caden Simmons, who he's doing things up north. He deserves his flowers. Yep. Average almost 30 a game, so we'll get into that. But shout out to Zoe Blackwell, the Wyoming commit, Middleton's leader. But let's get into our sponsorships real quick before we start. We got She Gone, mindset, right? Make a mistake, you forget about it, you move on. Stay positive. Take the positives and move on. She Gone. Then, of course, we got CHURRO Bros. We've been working with CHURRO Bros. Shout out to the Hope family hooking us up there. And then PICA, the salsa queen, Miss Carla. Yeah, we're going to be coming up with some fun stuff to integrate with the pod, with Key's Corner, with PICA, Idaho's top salsa, maybe the world's top salsa. You know, Miss Carla, shout out. And then, of course, Eagle Ridge Apparel, the Flames. I got the new safety orange here. I missed fall time a little bit, so I went with that one. Then, of course, the new logo up here. Josh killing it with the new logo. And I wanted to segue that with something we kind of ended on. We talked about in Key's Corner that people really need to understand the time that me and Coach Key are taking away from our families. And like, this is not something that is just easy and quick for us to do. It's become a full thing, multiple days during the week, multiple hours. Our wives are, they're going through it, having to deal with it. I want to bring my kids on the pod real quick. Get over here, you beautiful little children. Look at the Flames that Eagle Ridge hooked up. Sit right here. Look at, got the Oregon Duck one going on. We got the pink and purple over here with Kiki. Lila got the purple, the Rocky Mountain purple. And then Luca, Daddy's favorite color, that Carolina kind of sky blue thing going on. Heck yeah. So I just want to give my kids a shout out and a thank you on the podcast for letting me do this. It gets emotional for us at times that Daddy's away and all that type of stuff. But these are my best friends, and I have to spend time away from them to do this for everyone out there, which, is something that we both feel called to do by the Lord above, man. We just want to be a light with what we do. And these kids are that light for me in my life. And they help me to keep going, and they've been supportive in it, even though it's time away from Dad. So I want to give you guys a thank you. Love you guys. And Key, obviously, you got one coming soon. Capri, you got a couple babysitters here we need. But shout out Corey and baby girl Capri, who's hopefully going to come after the state tournament. And without their support, we would not be able to do this and not be as good at what we do. And I'm confident in what we do. I'm confident in you. Right. And so thank you to our families, and thank you kids so much. Now get out of here and go to CHURRO Bros. Go have some fun with your mom.
See y'all.
I'll see you guys later. Man, the flame game is crazy. The pink, the purple, the green, the blue.
And that's Eagle Ridge Apparel right there. He got us all hooked up. He got our boy Stride behind the camera. He got him hooked up with some gear. If you guys need any merch, you need anything, any of the Flames, you know exactly where to go.
Eagle Ridge, shout out to Swenson family, man. Caden Swenson had a senior night last night. Got to spend some time with them. And it's like, I'm just emotional today. It's emotional watching a lot of these day ones graduate. You do it every year. You just got back from Portland where you went, and you had the kid that, one of the first kids
Zach Tallman, one of my very first kids that let me mentor and let basketball really build our relationship. And then it was his senior night in Portland, so I flew out there Tuesday, got to tour a facility out there to get more knowledge for training out here, to come back and bring back the information for return to play, as well as more training that translates for the kids out here. So I did that, got to study a trainer that's really good out there that trains the Rip City Portland Trailblazers G League team on top of some of the Trailblazers, on top of all the top talent out there. He allowed me to learn from him. And then I got to see Jack, who has been really the start of what Adversity Athletes is. I got to see his senior night and go and help him and be a part of his moment. I've been a part of his family now since 2018, and they have helped me become who I am. And for me, it is emotional this year with some of my guys that have been with me for 7 years and have been such a factor in my life. Graduating, I got a bunch of guys graduating on Friday, or not graduating. Senior night's coming up on Friday, but this is their last year, and they put in multiple years, multiple mornings, multiple blood, sweat, and tears, and so extremely blessed to be working with so many amazing kids, and hopefully as we continue to do this, more of you guys come and get to see what Adversity Athletes is about, and I got something big coming. We won't say it now, but something big is coming that is going to change the entire valley, and I hope you guys stay tuned, and I hope you jump on the train when it comes the first time, because it may not come again.
Oh, no, it's going to be a massive blessing, and it is going to be a game changer. And once again, I want to let everybody know the reason that I want to do this is because I felt called to highlight this man and what he's about and what in his knowledge and his wisdom and most of all his heart. And so if you have a chance to get your kid out to train with him, to get to know him, highly recommend it. I would let all 4 of my kids train with him. They want to train with him, something that we're probably going to do at some point when they're ready. But I'm telling you, we are blessed to have you, Key. We're blessed to have guys like Strive, all the content creators out there that are making you guys look good. Taking the videos, taking time away to do what they love to do, to watch you do what you love to do. It's just when we all work together, we all come together, man, it's beautiful. Right. So, everybody just keep supporting everybody. Be positive, be competitive. Right. Don't want anybody to be better. Go be the best you, star in your role, and let's jump into it now, man. So I just want to say that we are blessed, man. Right. We are blessed. So let's jump into it, Key. You wanted to start with, we got playoffs. Girls 6A SIC play-in games are over. Mountain View beat Meridian. Capital won. They beat Owyhee. Right. Rocky beat Cuna. And Timberline beat Ridgeview. So now we got the bracket is set going into the playoffs. Okay. Tournament starts today. When this drops, we will be the day before the district tournament championship. So we're going to do a couple predictions here on who we think is going to get to state, who's going to play in the district championship here for a few minutes. And when it drops, we'll see how accurate we were. But first of all, mindset going into the playoffs, and some of these teams' seasons are ending. Mindset going into the offseason.
Okay, so if you're a team that is going into the offseason right now, this is where you can utilize the training resources that you have out here. You have off the field, you have One Athletics, you have Rock and Armor, you have multiple other guys that are just personal trainers that are helping kids and benefit kids when it comes to the strength and conditioning component. You have basketball trainers from Tigo Pro Athletics. You have me. You have Coach Hartman. You have
Marcus Graham,
Team No Dribble. Shout out to my guy. You got Henry the Jungle Basketball. You got HSB T3. I hope I'm not missing anybody else. Sage Hoops out there in Boise. I think that's my boy George, who's actually running hoops for him out in Nampa. So there's plenty of opportunities and resources for you guys to find people that are going to help develop your game. And if I forgot you, I'm so sorry. But there's still enough people that you can get better with. So you have those people that you can work with. And what I would do is I would assess yourself, go back over the film, go back over with your coach and say, hey, what are the things that you need from me that I can be better at for next season? And then you need to set a plan together. Don't just go into the off season with no plan, understanding that, I'm just going to train and that's enough. No, you need to come up with a strength and conditioning plan that you need to have. You need to come up with a diet that you need. And then you also need to come up with a rest and recovery plan as well on top of your skills. Are you working on your ball handling? Are you working on your shooting? Are you working on your overall IQ, which I think, to be honest with you, a lot of you should do. You need to go back and watch film, learn how to watch film. What aspects of the game do you need to be better at? Or can you play with the ball? Can you play without the ball? What position, if you have aspirations of playing college, how do you need to play to where college coaches will be attracted to your game? And I feel like that's something that we need to touch on, especially as trainers. I know I'm going to develop my players to be prepared to play college basketball. And then on top of that, I reach out to coaches and see what high school coaches need them to do. And I mix a combination of both. Do I think they need to do this from what a college aspect's going to look like, or they need to do this for their high school team? Because both of those perspectives can be very different, but they still need to have both. So work with a trainer that's going to develop your overall game and assess a plan that's going to benefit you and your skill set and what can get you to the next level.
How about these teams going into the playoffs? Because that sounds like that's what people who are season is ending. What's next? Yep. What should I do, Coach Key? Well, you just laid that out. People pay for that information. I'm going to continue to say what we're getting here, what he's given here is information people pay for. So that being said, you got teams going into the playoffs, teams looking to make a run, teams looking to get to their first district tournament in 3 years, teams looking to get to the state tournament, make some noise. Right. And listen, if you haven't broken out yet, it takes one game. It takes one postseason. We've seen it in March Madness every year, NBA playoffs every year. You see it. All people need is an opportunity with the lights being the brightest and anything can happen. So what do you think mindset going into these district playoffs, state playoffs, where do people need to be?
Well, you need to have a 0-0 mindset. You need to have a 0-0 mindset, and you need to go into every single game like this could be your last. And so if you're leaving any gas in the tank, you're fooling yourself and you're screwing your team over. So you got to be able to go in with a mindset of like, nobody owes you anything. Nobody's going to take it easy on you. There's no more gimmies anymore. It's now you need to have the toughest mindset, and the toughest team is going to win. And so for me, during the season, you need to make sure that you're taking care of your recovery. You need to make sure that you're eating right. Okay. And you need to still make sure that you're getting your extra workouts in. A lot of times what happens is when we get into the playoffs, a lot of kids will then say, well, I don't want to be tired. Your preparation from preseason all the way through the season up to this point should have allowed you to maintain all the way to where now this is all you got left. And you should finish the season. After the season, you can say you're tired, and then that's when you take your week off or your 2 weeks off, and then you get back to it. But right now, currently at this moment, there is no time for you to kick your foot off the gas, because the teams that do that are the teams that end up getting upset in the first round. We've seen that over the last couple of years. So you need to keep your foot on the gas right now. Be smart. And I'm not saying you need to go run through a wall, but you need to go and make sure you're still getting up your 250 makes, your 500 makes a day. You need to make sure that you're in the compression boots, you're taking a cold baths, you're taking, going to the sauna. You need to do all these things, doing a stretch routine, maybe go to yoga, things of that nature. But you need to have the mindset that this is now you're in the home stretch. And so there's no point of you all of a sudden taking your foot off the gas because you're quote unquote tired or fatigued. Now it's where you got to up your level. You got to up your intensity. Now you got to get your teammates together. If there's any time for you to be more together, it's right now, because the teams that are the closest together and the teams that have the best chemistry and that play the hardest are going to be the ones at the end of the road. Let's talk about Middleton girls. These girls are still up today. I seen at 4 a.m. working out. 4 a.m. So there's other teams around, right? And this is a 12-0 team still at 4 a.m. They're not changing. So when I say that Middleton is my favorite to win the girls state championship, that is why, because they're not changing. They're not taking their foot off the gas. Shout out to the Bora girls. The Bora girls are doing the same thing early morning. They're going to be somebody that if you overlook them, which we've seen already, they will punch you in the mouth. Yeah. And so you got to be prepared. There's somebody that's going to be there at the end. So those are two of my teams out of my four that I'm picking. Also the Eagle girls, who I've spent a lot of time with. I did their strength and conditioning. A lot of those girls, I had a girl today, Izzy Ellerthart, working out with me today. She's at a game today, just getting up shots, making sure, fine-tuning her form, getting in some finishing, a little bit of ball handling, and then we got up 250 shots. And those are the things that you have to do. The Eagle girls be there. The most talented team, I think personally, right? If they can put it all together, they're your favorite. That's a team that'll be there at the end. And then my fourth team, I'm going to pick Timberline. I'm going to pick Timberline because Timberline has enough athletes. They have enough size. And the thing is, if they can play together and they can flip the switch, they're a team that has given people problems. Right now, if they stay committed and they stay consistent, I think that they'll be the one that jumps over the hump. That's my personal opinion. I may be wrong. I've been wrong before. But so far from looking at how they played, they got in. They beat Ridgeview, I think, 81-8. Yeah. And shout out to Ridgeview. Those girls are doing the best they can, but they're riding that momentum. Okay. Some may say that might not be the best game for them to continue into the playoffs on. But for me, if everybody's firing, I got the stat sheet last night. Lexi Moore had 23. I think Emmy Swelly had 17. Their star power, finding a rhythm at the right time. And so for me, those are the four teams that I would pick. Let me make sure I'm going back over my head who I think. Ooh.
Give me one more.
I will say that. Actually, I might.
One more.
I'll change it. I'll say Rocky, the Rocky girls. And here's why. I went and watched Rocky, and they compete, and they play together. And when that ball is moving, it's just different who can get scored on by. Brooklyn Anderson has been shooting the ball extremely well as of late. One of my girls, so praise to her. But she's one of those girls that if she gets going, she can have 20, 25. They have Gemma, who's one of their younger point guards, who's out there facilitating, getting girls involved, diving on the floor, getting stops, leading that team. They have Mercy, who was everywhere, Swiss Army knife, grabbing rebounds, getting assists, bringing some toughness. So for them, they're in there. Between them and Timberline are my last to get in, just because of how they compete. They've had some really big wins, and they've played everybody tight. So for me, those are the teams that I would say, the 4 or 5 that I would pick.
I'm going to go with very similar. I'm going to go with Middleton, Dawn Holman. on the way back, on the mend. Might have to be limited minutes, but still a difference maker on the floor. She can catch and shoot it as well as anybody. And the physicality defensively we saw when she played Berkeley Jones, slowing her down enough to get that win. Her presence is going to matter. They play Mountain View today, who they beat by 2 last week without Dawn. I think they right that ship, and I think they handle them today. Zoe Blackwell, shout out again, got the Wyoming commit jersey on. Zoe Blackwell, for me, I'm just going to throw it out there right now, player of the year in the league, defensive player of the year in the league. She's just, she's that leader, that floor general. And I think when you have, and you'll see the way I pick the boys as well, 5A, 6A boys, there's a lot of good teams with good, heady, high IQ point guards.
Right.
That's what I like at the end of the year. I like, because I trust the ball and the playmaking there. And so Zoe Blackwell, Middleton's going to get there. Bora, Eagle, I hope they both win their first round games, because I'd like to see that rematch in the semis. They play, Bora plays Rocky today, which could be interesting. And then Eagle plays Capital today. Capital coming off a nice win against Hawaii Heat, Eden Francis, Stafford. They got pieces. Chavez, the BYU softball commit. McKenna Chavez, a beast. I like Capital. So I'm going to say Middleton, Bora, Eagle, and then I'm going to go ahead and go with Rocky and Capital. Yeah. I think I know that Timberline and Boise play in the 4-5. Winner plays Middleton. But if you lose that game to Middleton, you cross bracket and you will play the winner of, most likely, if Bora beats Rocky and Eagle beats Capital, the winner of that Rocky Capital game will play the cross bracket game against Timberline or Boise, whoever wins and loses to Middleton, if that's how it goes down. And I think there's going to be an upset there. That's just how I feel. So I'm going to say Capital. I can't say Capital and Rocky, because one of them is going to be knocked out most likely. But I'm going to go ahead and say, Capital, because you said Rocky. I was going to say Rocky before we started. I'm going to say Capital, because I like Coach Creech and what they're doing. But yeah, and then if there was another team to get in, I'm not sure. It would be great for a Boise team to get in, a young Boise team to get in, get the experience, because next year they got the top 8th grader in the state potentially coming in, and Camilla.
It's
and
not just the state, in the whole West Coast.
In the whole West Coast, yeah. So Boise, look out next year. So they've got a young squad. They've got players. If they can get to the state tournament and get that experience with what's coming in next year, I think that would be massive. They got to prove it. They got to do it. If they beat Timberline, I think that goes a long way into doing that. That'd be a big upset. Even though Boise's the 4 seed, Timberline's the 5 seed, I think Timberline I would probably favor in that game with Swilly and Moore.
Right.
And there's some injuries over there at Boise, so we'll see. The girls' district tournament is going to be amazing.
Right.
It's going to be fun to follow. I'm going to 2 games tonight at Hawaii. I'm going to go to 2 or 3 games on Saturday, because I once again have to miss the girls' state tournament. But you and Strive will be able to hit that and give them the coverage they deserve. I'll be on NFHS Network covering from afar from Vegas. Right. So I will still be posting and stuff. So, anybody else on the girls' side that you think needs a shout out? Anybody playing well? Anybody you think could be an X factor? I like Carrington Coleman over there at Rocky, the freshman who's getting minutes now, kind of doing Swiss Army knife type things.
Yeah.
I want to give her a shout out. Know the family well. Her brother's balling at Cole Valley. Yeah. Shout out to Cooper Coleman and Soren Froz, top rated team in Cole Valley. And there's a little trash talking going on over there. Sugar Salem. Sugar Salem's undefeated.
Right.
And they giving them Cole Valley boys some locker room material. I know Coach Life's going to love that. I'm hoping for that Sugar Salem Cole Valley state championship game on state championship Saturday. Get there a little bit early before the 5A, 6A game. We got to catch that one. Hopefully that happens, because the trash talk is happening. So anyway, let's jump over. We want to talk a little bit about the North and a little bit about the East when it comes to boys basketball. We are getting educated, as we said we would. I want to start. Shout out Maddie Simmons, playing at Wyoming as well. This is the Maddie Simmons jersey. Coach Simmons up at NIC. Corey Simmons does an incredible job up there. Nicole Simmons, state championship, multiple state championships. Coeur d'Alene girls, when Tegan Colvin was there, when Maddie was there, when Brooksley was a freshman. We got to talk about Caden Simmons, averaging almost 30 a game, almost 10 rebounds, almost 10 assists. We're talking about flirting with almost averaging a triple-double. He's really gone through it there since he was a freshman. His parents did the late start for him, like Blake Buchanan did as well, where they wanted to give him more time to develop, because sometimes young men take longer to develop than the young ladies do, and they wanted to give him an extra year to try to reach his goals. And I want to talk about this. Right. Max Saavedra did it. Russell Gibson did it. Miguel Taylor did it. Lots of kids do it.
AJ DeBonza did it. Tyron Stokes did it.
So let's talk about that, because a lot of people seem to try to use that as like a dagger to throw at kids, and I'm frankly sick and tired of it. You don't know what's best for somebody else's kid. The parents know best. You don't have to agree with it or like it, but to sit back and to attack a kid consistently, even kids from his own school, even parents. I mean, when I lived up there and I covered Buchanan and those guys, which was Idaho's best team ever, in my opinion, with Mitchell, Johnson, Hawking, Keesby, Buchanan, Reese Strawn, Casey Miller, that team that went undefeated and they beat the top team in Washington at their place in a tournament. Like, when he was up there then, when they were dealing with it then. And Caden, I'm hearing that Caden's dealing with all these different things. He's hooping, he's balling, he's trying to carry, averaging almost a triple-double. And I just want to give him his flowers, dude. He's one of the best players in the state. He's been one of the best guards to come through in the last couple years. And he's going to Evansville, which is Division I. He's a Division I point guard. And his parents did what they felt was best for him. And they were right. And Coach Simmons has won a national championship, so he knows what he's doing. His wife has won state championships. She knows what she's doing. So everyone just needs to stop with the lip service and respect the game, respect the kid, and keep it positive.
But a lot of coaches are now coming out and saying that because of how the NIL space is now with the transfer portal, that they're already recruiting older anyways. And so it's harder for high school kids. They want more mature athletes. They want more mature prospects. And if so, for me, I used to be against it. I used to be one of those guys that was against it. But then now that I've started to look at it from terms of going into college, you have to be ready, because some of these guys are going in and playing with 22, 23-year-olds right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you do get held back and you do it the right way, where one time is cool. Some do it twice. I wouldn't do it twice, but doing it once where maybe you're not developed right away. Some people need to do it for their growth, right? And if it gives you the best opportunity to get where you want to get and where your goals are set out for you to get to, then you can do that. Cooper Flagg reclassed and then classed back into his original class. I'm pretty sure AJ DeBonza classed up. Yeah. There's some people who go up and there's some people who go back, depending on where they're at. Now, those guys obviously are NBA prospects, but you have to do what is best for your career and to be held to that. Because what happens if you're an old senior? What if you're the oldest in your class? Right? Then there's no conversation. You could still be 18 or 19 or whatever your birthday is when school starts. But it's like, for you to use that as why somebody is good, no, you have to bring your level of play up.
Yeah.
Right. And there's plenty of guys that we've seen. Even Rasmussen was older. Even Bodie Howe was older. So it's like, and there's some guys, that are there true to their class, true to their age. And we respect that. And we talk about that. We talk about that in the development stage. I have a kid right now that's a freshman that could be a sophomore, but for his development, his growth, this was the best thing for him. Right. And he wants to go play college football. That's his goal. So, for me, when you sit there and you talk about this is what's giving them the advantage, everybody elsewhere is doing it. And if they don't do it, here's what happens too. Some get held back, okay? They go through their 4 years of high school, and then they go to post-grad school, and then they hit a junior college. By the time that they're getting to a 4-year university, they're already a senior's age. And that's what our incoming kids are having to go against. And that happens everywhere. So we can't use that anymore as something that holds the player's ability back. When we sit there and we go and watch, now, does it help their development? Are they more mature? Absolutely. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you have resources getting to the weight room, you should be there too anyway.
Yeah.
Right. And if you want to stay true to your class, you can do that. Doesn't mean that you have to take a shot at somebody else who's doing it, especially if it's going to get them to where they need to go. Caden Simmons is better now, right, with an extra year of development. Now he's going to be prepared to play right away as a true freshman.
Yep.
Okay, and most players, right, would redshirt, right, get to college and redshirt right away, where he's probably not going to have to do that because his body's already mature enough to then go and do that.
Yeah.
So he's going to be the same age as what most kids would be when they redshirt anyway, starting their first year.
Yeah.
So what is the problem? Is it because he's averaging 30? Is it because he's getting 10 rebounds? Is it because he has swagger? You have to double team him. You have to triple team him. You're putting a box and one on him. I just seen him shoot a free throw and somebody try to take his knee out when he's shooting a free throw. So you're doing all of these things and have all this to say about him, but you have to do all this to try to stop him. That says a lot about his game.
Yeah.
That says a lot about the talent that he has and that he's showing. Obviously, nobody likes it to get dominated.
Yeah.
Now, imagine if Coeur d'Alene had another guy that was of his caliber on that team.
Yeah.
Where are they at?
Yeah.
Because he might be the best player in the state of Idaho.
Yeah.
We're going to see, because I think that he's going to be one of those guys that's going to will his team, that hopefully they can get them to the state tournament. Shout out to my guy.
Yeah, no, facts. And the North is tough. There's only 3 teams up north, and we've got a Post Falls team who just beat Lake City. They beat Timberline. They beat Centennial. They're real, right? Essentially, they could be in a top 1, 2, 3, 4 in the SIC. And so Simmons is having to deal with that. Right. And then Lake City, Jordan Carlson, maybe the top player in the state.
Right.
You got Josh Watson, who's going to go play for Coach Simmons at NIC. And that's not a place that just anybody goes and plays. That's just not a junior college. That is one of the top basketball schools in Idaho, any level, coached by Coach Simmons, who, once again, shout out to that family, man. Love that family. Love that they're standing on who they are, standing on their faith.
And they always will.
Yeah.
They always will.
And I talked to Caden yesterday, and I said, hey, because I have a relationship. I said, how things going? How you doing? He goes, you know what? This has been maybe the toughest year of my life, but I've grown the most in my faith. And that's making me a better person. And that shows through the game as well, as a leader, as a teammate. So, all things she gone. That's that attitude. I'm not even going to deal with the negative. I'm going to take the positive. I'm going to be better. Let's go. Right. And so shout out again to Caden Simmons, but the North, bro, Jackson Lisney and Connor Carver, that duo up there at Post Falls, 29 and 21 the other day, combined for 50 against Lake City to beat Lake City. And Carlson had 30. You withstand a Jordan Carlson 30 bomb and you win the game. You got something going on there. So Post Falls, Lake City, like 2 really good teams. And then you got Simmons, who's potentially the best player in the state. We don't know what's going to happen up north. One of them is going to get the auto bid, and then one of the SIC teams is going to have to go up to Grangeville and deal with either Caden Simmons or Carlson and Watson or Lisney and Carver, who have beaten Centennial and beaten Timberline and beaten Lake City. And Lake City's also beaten Post Falls. And then I believe Simmons almost led his boys to a win over Post Falls. It was 68-66. And I think he had 40 and was getting triple team the whole game, like you said. So the North is no joke. And Simmons needs his flowers. Even though they're in 3rd out of 3 teams, districts matter. And a good friend of his, good family friend of his, Brooks Lee Colvin, I say the same thing about when the lights are the brightest, players like this change and go somewhere else. And I say it again, I kind of saw it with Eden Francis the other day against Owyhee. It's like we're down 12, our season's on the line, and she's a Division I athlete. She can be a track girl. And I just saw the eyes get wider and the focus it was more, and she just went somewhere different. So a lot of people don't understand when the lights get brighter, people change and you see things and games are elevated and you take the next step. And so one more thing about the reclassing thing, because Blake Buchanan did it. If he would not have had that extra year, because it was from his junior, as soon as they lost to Centennial in the first round against Weston Johnson, Caden Christensen, Ty Shipp, Will Johnson, all them guys, Hayden Fletcher, your boy, when they lost that game and they ended up winning the next 2 games and finishing whatever it was, 3rd or 4th, 5th, whatever. From that time to when I saw them in Phoenix at Section 7 in 2 months, his body completely changed. They went 4-0. Iowa offered. They won Section 7, and he came back his senior year, and that was the best team I've ever seen in Idaho. If his parents would not have made that decision, he would have gone to Santa Clara. He would have gone to University of Portland or Idaho State. Instead, he went to Virginia, and now he's at Iowa State. So a lot of these people that have something to say just don't understand. And so again, shout out to the Simmons family. Shout out to the North. We see you up there. Watson, Carlson, Lisney, Carver. I think it was, Cashman, I think Laudman is his name. He had a big game the other day. And then Royce Fisher at Lewiston. They just beat Coeur d'Alene. Royce Fisher, they're 5A. Lewiston is coming from 5A up north. That's my prediction. Royce Fisher, LC State commit. Want to give him another shout out. He had 21 and 10 on Coeur d'Alene the other day. They beat him by 7 at Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, he's been balling.
Simmons had 30, 10 and 8. But Royce Fisher up there is a guy. I said, hey, get down here, bro. We want to highlight you.
Yeah,
we want to watch you. Same with the Blackfoot boys who we'll touch on here.
Right.
So let's jump over to the east a little bit. Weston Walker at Rigby is hooping. Rigby's trying to find a way to close games. You got Coons over there at Madison, 29 and 15 the other day.
Yep.
Madison's trying to figure it out. It's taken them most of the year, but Madison's a team that's you always see at the state tournament, so they could be there. Highland is averaging 13 threes a game with, Carter and guys like Boston McCulloch, who hit the game winner against Thunder Ridge. Highland is in first over there. Thunder Ridge just beat Canyon Ridge. Thunder Ridge has guys, I believe they're in second. And so that's going to be interesting to keep up with. We're going to continue to learn about those guys. We're getting names thrown at us. Shout out our boy Wooderson, the East Side Guru. He's keeping me educated, updated with all the scores. Those guys are doing a good job at the individual teams and their media teams getting stats out. Continue to help us out with that. We'll see what happens back east. It's a toss-up out there. And then let's jump over to the 5A chaos, bro. There is 5A is a lot of fun right now. The SIC is a lot of fun. And because we're out talking about the East 6A, I'm going to start out the East 5A. We talked about Royce Fisher and Lewiston, who look like the runaway favorites up north. I don't see Lakeland or Sandpoint or anybody beating them because Fisher's the best player up there. We will see though. But back east, let's start with our Blackfoot boys. Then we'll go over to a team that just beat them at Blackfoot, who's Preston. Blackfoot, Austin Arave, Case and Sorsen. The more we see, the more we like.
Yeah.
23 and 18 combined yesterday. They won a rivalry game at Shelley. They look like the runaway favorites to win that league, and I really want to see them out here. I will skip a 6A state tournament game to go watch them play.
And I will be right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the oops. I'm seeing now I got both boys, both of the two-headed monster, the duo following me. So I went looked through their page and I was like, ooh, these guys are the real deal.
Yeah.
And when they out here, I'm going to try to get them into the lab so I can really see what it's about.
Yeah, no, Kason Sorensen had 2 dunks yesterday. He ended up with 18 and 10. I posted 18 and 8. Apologies, it was 18 and 10. Got to give the man the double love. And then Arave had 23, 7, 5, 3. Austin Arave's doing his thing. Another team with a heady senior point guard. Right. And him and Sorensen, man, I love the duos. I love the way they work together in the highlights. They got other guys like Baldwin who randomly will pop off and these other guys know what they are working with this duo. And so really intrigued and excited to continue to watch Blackfoot. Really hope they make a run and get to the state tournament. And so then we jump over to a team that just went to Blackfoot and beat them. Highly anticipated game. Our boy High Country Films was out there doing his thing and he got some highlights for us, but Wade Bailey is back and making a difference. And Wade Bailey is looking like potentially could be in the 5A Player of the Year conversation with what he's doing. And when he went out, they lost to Pokey 45-41 on a game winner at Preston. They just beat Pokey by 20 yesterday at Pokey.
Yeah, and he had 27.
He had 27. And right. he got his boy, Mr. Viral, Case and Bryce. Shout out Strive with the camera work on that one.
Yeah.
And then they got Galloway over there as well. I'm hearing good things about. And so I'm hearing from a bunch of the media guys on the east side that Wade Bailey changes absolutely everything. He is the X factor. He is the player of the year. He is what I have heard the top point guard in the state to some, which is, hey, that's high praise. He's going to have a chance to prove it. They're doing their thing out there at Preston. Coach Jones always does it. They got to be the 5A favorites, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would say so far from what I've seen with Case and Bryce and what Wade's been able to do. I got to be with Wade at the Ball is Life one-on-one tournament where he came in and he was one of those kids when we got into the gym before we even started, was ready for the smoke, no matter who it was, wanted to get into the action, get in some shots, get into some extra work. So that says a lot about how he works. He's a worker. And for me, him coming back brings that team their identity back, because I feel like Case and Bryce gets a lot better when Wade Bailey's on the floor. And Case and Bryce has been doing it all year, dunk after dunk, athletic, acrobatic lays. Those guys got it over there, and they've been like that. They've been well coached for all these years. They've always put their name right there in the conversation. Last year's state championship, it was like, I thought I was in the NBA All-Star game watching how it was going down. So shout out to those Preston boys. I do feel like they're the favorite, one, because of how they play and how Wade is leading those guys. He can kill you with the points. He can get everybody else and make everybody else better, but he controls the tempo. And I feel like a lot of times when we get into the playoff situations, whoever controls the pace of the game, if it's in their favor, ends up usually winning the game.
Yeah.
So they can play fast, they can play slow. As long as that ball is in Wade Bailey's hands, I feel like they're in control.
Yeah. And so shout out to Wade. And Pokey has been hot, and they played that game, I think, down a guy or two. But Pokey's a team, I think there's 1.5 out there. So Pokey's a team that we could see in the state tournament as well. They've got some pieces. Pokey lost to Rocky in the Hawaii Holiday Tournament, I think by 2 or 4, and it was at Rocky, and they had a chance to get to that championship game. So they're there. Pokey could be there. So tune in for that. Yeah, Preston, Blackfoot, those boys out east are doing it. Cannot wait to hopefully see those guys. Royce Fisher up north as well. But the 5A SIC is wild and out. BK just lost to, they beat Skyview at Skyview the other day. Big win. A little separation there. You got Middleton and Skyview kind of falling a little bit further back to the 4-5 seed. What's going to happen there? We'll talk about that in just a second. And then you've got BK, who won that game, had a chance to jump into that potential league championship conversation. Then they go and they lose at Columbia by 15. Close game till the end. Columbia hits free throws, 15-point game. Huge win for Columbia. Moves BK kind of solid in that 3 spot. And now we have tomorrow night, which by the time this drops, it will have happened. We've got Columbia Valley View essentially for the league championship. They played once already at Columbia. Columbia hit 11 threes in the first half. And Valley View still cut it to 4 with 3 minutes to go, had a chance to win. Columbia ended up closing the door. Max Keller and the boys handled business there. But we're going to the Nest tomorrow, and Valley View might be the hottest 5A team in the state, and they're feeling good about it. They want some revenge, but Max Keller, Tavin Jones, Easton Lott been balling. You got Parkston, you got Lincoln, you got JD, you got De Leon. I mean, they got guys. They're deep. They're well coached. They're going to go in there and they're going to want all the smoke. Who do you got in that game?
Ooh, put me on the spot.
Put you on the spot.
Put me on the spot. I'm going to go with my take that I said in Keith's Corner, even though I am picking Columbia as one of my favorites to win the state championship. I'm going to go with Valley View at Valley View just because it is so hard to play there, and Xander Wilson has become one of my favorite players. I posted about him. He's the real deal. He's got my attention, and I feel like a lot of college coaches should take note of what he's doing because he's a player that doesn't have a position. No. He can bring the ball up. He can play in the post. He can give you highlight dunks. He can get the crowd into the game. He can pass. He can rebound. He can block shots. Noah Mitchell over there on the glass with him. Both of those guys, they kind of give me like, not in terms of their size and their position, but they kind of give me like that Andre Drummond feel how they approach attacking rebounds because they're going for every one of them. So I feel like those guys got enough. They got great guard play, and at Valley View it's just a hard place to play. And if you looked at that BK game with Valley View, how they were rocking. That crowd changes things. Yeah. And when you're playing at home with these high flyers that can get a steal and just throw one down, I feel like that factors into the game because a duck can change the entire game. The entire momentum can shift. I will say this, though. I do think it's going to be whoever has the ball last. And I say that just because Columbia can shoot it so well. And if you don't get up, if they get out and they get hot early, then you're digging yourself out of a hole where you're exchanging 2s for 3s because they're going to be giving you 3s. Yeah. And Max Keller to me is my player of the year just because of all the things that he does. He doesn't have to score. And a lot of people get it twisted because there's some games he has 25 and there's games that he has 13. But he is the most impactful player on the floor because you have to worry about him. They don't leave him. They don't leave him by himself ever. And if you do, 6 threes can happen right away. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. So for me, he's one of those guys that can completely change the game. I mean, we've seen how he did against Middleton, where they're down. All of a sudden, he says, you know what? I'm going to show you who I am. And boom, they're right there with a comeback. So I will pick Valley View, but I know Columbia could get it done too. I'm going to step in and say that I think for me, and I love Keller, and I love what he did against Valley View last time because they threw multiple bodies at him, and he was facilitating. Super impressed with that part of his game and the growth there as well. Right. Because these guys, and a guy like Tanner Sweeney as well, these guys understanding, man, if I'm a playmaker, it simplifies the game for me. Right. And so Keller, Sweeney, guys like that are becoming better and better playmakers, like what Drake Hope is doing as well. But I think the winner of this game, the player of the year is on that team. I think Xander Wilson wins player of the year. Valley View wins this game. Which I would not be surprised. That's my guy. Yeah. I would not be surprised. And I would give it to him, but since I already said he's one of my favorite players. But Max is there. If they win, it's Max Keller. Yes.
I mean,
and Max Taylor's one of my favorite players too.
And it may need to be a co-player to your situation if Valley View wins, because Columbia did beat them already. But listen, shout out to Coach Mario again, because I hit him up last night. They beat Nampa by only 5, which maybe they were overlooking Nampa. Columbia's coming to town Friday night.
My boy Paul over there, and he's been having a great year. They haven't been winning as much, but what he's been doing, Paul, I see what you're doing, bro. I see it on Twitter. I make sure that I share it. You know, I want to help you as much as I can. Reach out to me whenever you need. I got your back, but I've seen what you've been doing. You're not getting overlooked. You need some love. You deserve some praise. You know, he's going over there and he's leading that Nampa team, and they're giving some people some runs.
Yeah.
If they had a little bit more, they could probably get over the hump on some of these games.
Yeah, and districts, anything can happen if you're not ready to go. And so I hit up Coach Mario, and I was like, hey, you guys won 76-71. Like, you got any stats? He's like, I'm not giving you any stats. My guys were playing for stats last night. He's like, we're not, no. And he's like, nah, there's nobody to talk about. We did not play the right way. Yeah. So he getting them in line, and I was like, oh, okay. He's like, there's nothing to talk about with the stats in this game. I was like, I feel you, Coach. You got to do what you got to do.
Let's touch on that. If you guys are watching this and it makes you become more selfish, then you should stop watching what we're doing.
You're not paying attention.
And I don't want to take away any eyes from what we're doing, because it gets you guys eyes. But when you change the way that you're playing to try to get posted on Hooper's Delight, it's not about what we post. It's about you guys winning. We will talk about you if you do what you're supposed to do. But if you're trying so hard to get us to talk about you, you're not playing the game the right way. And so your stats are important, and we're going to share them because we do think that you guys deserve all the love, all the attention, all the exposure that we could possibly give. But you play basketball to win the game. Do not make a mistake. It is to win the game. As soon as you make it about you, your team loses. And I tell that to my guys all the time, because every time, and this is just one of the things that I've learned as a trainer when I'm trying to motivate guys, is I used to tell my guys, like my really high scoring guys, hey, go get 45 tonight. And every time I would go to a game, after I would tell them that, they would play their worst game. Because instead of letting the game come to them, they then tried to force it, and they put too much pressure on themselves, and maybe I put the pressure on them, and then they didn't play as well. And so you guys need to understand, and if you hear me, look at me in my face. I don't know which camera going to be on me. One of y'all. You need to play the game to win. To win. That is the most important objective of any game that you will ever play, is to win the game. If you are playing for your individual accolades, you will never make it, and that's coming from a guy who scores a bunch of points. Play to win.
Play to win. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, and a lot of these kids maybe don't hear us or don't understand when we say star in your role, impact winning. Once again, Quincy Keller the other day from Mountain View Girls. She scored 12 points, but have 5 blocks, 5 steals, 8
double
rebounds.
Blocked in.
Yeah, double blocked to win the game. Eden Francis went like 1 for 12 her previous game, came out and was like, I'm gonna impact the game differently. Steals, blocks, and then the offense came. And so, like Coach said, man, it's not about you. It's about us.
Well, especially at this moment.
Yeah.
At this moment,
sure.
You're trying to get over the hump, right? The overall best scorer or top scorer, if they don't learn how to create for everybody else, the game becomes harder for them, and then your efficiency goes down. And then on top of that, if you're trying to get recruited, a coach is going to look at you and say, hey, you can average 20 points a game, but you don't make nobody better. So we don't want you anyways, because we got another 7 guys trying to do what you're coming in to do too.
Yeah.
And we probably have somebody that's a little bit older there already, that's a little bit better at scoring than you. So then you have to learn how to play that role again to get another opportunity to then become the guy.
Yeah.
And you only get to the guy by if you go through it, 1, defensive first, playmaking second, and then your time comes. Right? If you make players better, then you get an opportunity. Right now, going into district tournaments, going right now into the state tournament, you can't be thinking about yourself. On that banner, it doesn't say player of the year and just that person. When you win state, it's the whole team, the coaching staff. Some of these coaches put their personal trainers on there.
Yeah.
I haven't been on there, sadly, but you know, it's their whole team. Their trainers, is everybody in there. Their athletic director, it's the whole team.
Yeah.
And so focus on, as I said, winning the game and making sure you should be happy for your teammates' success. It shouldn't come back to us to like, hey, people are playing for stats for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, nah.
Yeah, no. So Coach Mario is going to handle that, and that's probably something they need in that moment. They're playing like that. Obviously, they're in a confident place, but they only won by 5. They could have blown the league, right? Because if they would have lost that game, the Columbia game doesn't even matter, because Columbia could lose that game and still be. I believe, league champs.
Right.
But now they can learn from that. She gone, and now we'll see how they respond. But last thing I want to touch on the 5A, we're talking about guys that play selfless basketball, maybe too selfless sometimes. I had a clip that I said I want to do a little segment on. Our boy Ty Cornwall, if you want to see what the extra work and pure confidence looks like, check out the clip. Strive is going to pop it up right here. Give him a minute to get it up. But Ty Cornwall, this is off the tip. My brother-in-law, Coach Leon, texts me. He goes, Ty Cornwall just hit a 35-footer to start the game off a tip play. They tipped it. Guy dribbles down the court. Ty jumps out to the wing, pops back around, gets the handoff, and from the volleyball line, blow!
Right.
And
on that.
And you can tell he working on that shot. Coach is watching him work on that shot. And he's like, you know what? We starting the game that way with that kind of ice in your veins. And that's a shot that, listen, bro, that may not be a high efficient shot for a lot of people. That is how the game is expanding. That is why Steph Curry is one of the greatest players ever, because that is a good shot to certain guys that put in the work. I got guys like Tanner Sweeney I want to see shoot that shot. Quincy Clay will shoot that shot with that type of confidence. It needs to be situational. It needs to be like, let me see how I'm feeling. Okay, maybe once or twice in a game. But, you know, Colin Morris hits that shot. I saw him hit that shot. Drake Hope can make that shot.
Right.
But it needs to be worked on.
Right.
How do you feel about guys expanding their game and extending their range? Because for me, there are guys that are not shooting that. I saw Gabe shoot it yesterday at Rocky. Gabe pulled one. Those are game-altering, confident shots that if you have time to take a breath, line it up, and get it there, that's a great shot for me. I'm the type of guy that's like, yo, certain guys, if you don't shoot that, like, I mean, if we need a bucket and we need to get to the line, it's situational. Right. It's IQ in it.
Yeah. And that's what I'll say. It is definitely time on the clock, situation, who's shooting it, because there's plenty of guys that think they're that guy and they're not that guy. You are not that guy, pal. And so there's some guys that are like that, but there's some dudes. So for prime example, let's go back to Ty Cornwall. I told him I was going to give him his love on this. And Coach Hartman, that is one of the trainers out here, they were repping shots, his fluidity, his mechanics that entire morning, posted it. And then you sent me the clip. And the first thing I thought about was he was just doing that this morning. So it's like he put in the work on a game day, right? On a game day, got into the lab, worked on his craft, and it wasn't one of those fast-paced. It didn't have to be a fast-paced workout. It was something that was methodical. Some would say boring, but effective, and something that translates and translated, as we've seen, to the game. You can work out and train on game days and then watch how much better you do, because you're already mentally locked in from the time that you wake. And so I've seen Ty Cornwall develop. We watched him drop a 36 ball against Rocky and just seeing his ability to shoot. But I've been watching this kid go and shoot and go through his mechanics and really dial down his shot for a long time. I knew he was going to be good since he got to high school. I think he was injured his first year, and then he got out of his injury, and then you just started seeing him just grow and blossom. And every year his game has gotten better and better and better. And from my hometown. He is the next great of which we've had quite a few greats to come through Middleton, and he might be one of the best, if not the best, as of late coming through. But it's a credit to his work. It's a credit to his confidence. And one, for a coach that is believing in him to do that, to pull it, to take and make that shot, which is huge. If your coach does not believe in you like that, then you won't be able to take and make those shots. You won't even be able to take half the shots. And a lot of time, coaches give these players the confidence on top of the work that they put in, but the coach, just by believing in them, you see stuff like that happen. Nobody else is shooting that shot.
No.
We've seen a few kids, but those are the guys that are putting in the most work. Those are the guys that we see score all the points, right? And everybody wants to be those guys, but they don't want to do what those guys are doing. They don't want to do the 5 a.m. shots, right? I'm with Owen Brown in the morning. I'm with Logan Hosfight in the morning. 5 a.m. And we're doing Monday through Thursday, sometimes Monday through Friday. And then in season, we're training weight room. We're training on the court, right? And these guys are working on their game. I'm not surprised when Owen Brown goes for 11 straight. I'm not surprised when Logan scores 20 in the first half. I'm not. I've seen it. Some of the moves they do, everyone's like, bro, did you see that move? I'm like, what about it? I've seen that move 1,000 times, right? Drake Hope, I've seen him putting in the work. I've seen Colin Morris with Team No Dribble, Marcus Graham working out, and I've seen him putting in the work, pulling from 30. And it's just textbook. Yeah. And it's like, so certain guys like that, like Ty Cornwall, that has put in the time, we got to shout that out because the work is now translating right to the court.
Yeah.
Right. And out here, we talk about the good basketball. We don't just talk about Keys training, diversity officers. We talk about everybody.
Yeah.
Some of these guys is really helping these kids develop their game and get better. And we can shout them out for that because I love to see it.
Yeah.
And we need more of it. We need more truth tellers, as we say.
Yeah.
And so when you start to see guys take and make these type of shots, situation matters. Okay. At what point in the game? Right. And so obviously it was off the tip. They're not losing. Like they lost a possession if he missed. Sure. But it's 0-0 at that moment. Right now, if you take that shot with a minute left up 1, you probably could get a better look.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But at the same time, with Ty Cornwall, I don't care what he shoot.
Yeah.
Because I know he's put in the time. Yeah. He's one of the best players in the state, regardless of classification. We need to say that.
Yeah.
He's one of the best players in the state of Idaho, regardless of classification.
He's the best player 5A for me.
And I can agree with that. I can see that, right? So, but it's those guys that put in those work. Gabe Edens can take that shot. Colin Morris, Logan Hosfight, Tobin Newton. So, like, these guys can take those shots, and they can make those shots. Do I suggest that you take a lot of those? No.
Not unless you're on a heater.
But if you're on a heater, if it's like Owen Brown when he had 11 straight for Centennial, if he would have put it from half, I'd have been like, hey, live with that. You know what I mean? So it's like certain people that I know are putting in the time, and their coaches know that they're putting in the time. Coach Andy Adewai, he knows those guys is putting in time in the morning, right? So it's like those guys, some of those guys can get away with taking some of those shots. But if you're a guy who wants to take some of those shots or take some of these step backs or these snatch dribble shots, you better be putting in the time.
Yeah.
And you better and coach better know that you're working on that, because if not, that's what's going to get you yanked and you're going to be sent by us recording.
Yeah. And so Ty Cornwall, once again, for me, I think he's a top overall player in 5A, one of the top players in the state overall. I am going to say this again. I have Middleton getting to the state tournament. I don't know how they're going to do it. They have 2.5 and there's 5 teams that could make it there. I think Middleton's going to get there, and I think Cornwall's going to get there. He's the reigning player of the year in that league for a reason.
Right.
And we called him out a few weeks ago and being like, Ty, we think this is what's going to need to happen for you to take this particular team back to state. And you see him kind of doing things that are like 22 and 20 and then 15 and getting other guys off because he has a triple team. The other day, Stuckey balled out 12, 7, and 4. But Cornwall, and he told me other guys stepped up. Man, I was getting doubled. Other guys stepping up. That's what we need. So he understands. And so shout out to Ty Cornwall. That shot, that tick, boom, bro, from distance was fun to watch. And so anyway, let's jump over. We got about 10 minutes to go. Let's talk about the 6A boys, the standings right now. Talk about these. We'll touch on maybe the player of the year, where we're at with a week and a half to go before the district playing games. But we got first place is a Waihe right now. We got second place is Centennial. We actually have Kuna in third. We have Meridian in fourth, Timberline in fifth, and Capital now has dropped to sixth there with, I think, Boise and some of these Mountain View is on fire right now. Ever since Coach Nettleton said, hey, I'm retiring at the end of the year. They haven't lost. They 28 assists in the game yesterday. Mountain View deserves to be talked about. Tolman has gone somewhere different. Tyler Harris triple-double yesterday, which Cooper Patterson, Big Chevy, earlier in the year had the first triple-double. His boy, Tyler Harris, has the second triple-double ever in school history. Patterson had 21 and 9, while Harris had 23, 10 and 10, and Tolman had 21 and 9 assists. And so we got to talk about Mountain View, but right now it's a Waihe locked in at 1. Centennial plays Mountain View tonight, and then Kuna and Meridian play. Who's going to win that game? Who's going to get the 3 seed? Because the winner of that game essentially is going to get locked into the 3 seed unless there's some massive upsets.
Right. So Theo's back.
Theo's back.
And for me, that changes the energy of the whole game. And so for me, so far, every time that he's on the floor, that team plays with a different swagger. They play with a chip on their shoulder, and you can see that they're more hungry when he's there. But I can't discredit what Cuna's been doing.
Yeah.
But Cuna has had some laps where Meridian's laps are Centennial, number 2 in the league, Timberline with Cole Hudson.
With Cole Hudson.
Right. So obviously that was a different team in itself. And so for me, I'm going to go with Meridian because Drake Hope, for me, is the player of the year, in my opinion, from what he's done, his body of work on both sides of the ball. When the games that he's not scoring as much, he's get 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 blocks, and things of that nature. So for me, I would take Meridian in that game just because I do think that Drake overall has put the best season together, and he's had the multiple 30 balls, multiple double-doubles. He just had 4 dunks last night and another 30 ball. He's just been playing out of his mind. And to be honest, I'm not surprised because he's showed glimpse over the last couple of years that he was that guy. And so now that it's really just him just taking off, like I don't see him looking back when Sammy Khan gets it right. And he texted me the other day and said, I got something for you. I'm back. I got something for you. I told him I want to see his consistency. We will see that here the rest of the season. We already got, the X-Man. We got Bear. Bear, to me, is one of the most underrated players in the state of Idaho from his effort standpoint, multiple rebounds, blocking shots, timely shots. And so Meridian, I just feel like they got that depth, and I feel like they'll be ready. They also have the size to go against CUNA. Manny Chubb is, if CUNA's to get it done, Manny Chubb, again, 25, 12, 4 blocks. That's the type of game that he has to have. Jackson Edward has to have a 20 ball as well. Henry's got to be able to handle these guards, picking them up and just taking care of the ball and making sure that he's low on the turnover side. So I do think that game could go either way. I don't count out CUNA at all. I don't. I just feel as they've had more lapses than Meridian has. Meridian's lapses are against better teams versus CUNA's that has had a couple lapses against teams that aren't quite as good as the teams that Meridian has lost to.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it being at CUNA makes it extra interesting. But I think Meridian wins that game as well. I just think they're more offensively rounded than CUNA is. Both teams are very good defensively. I think CUNA, it may be even underrated defensively. But Chabuka leads the way there. He is in the player of the year conversation. If they beat Meridian and then they go beat Centennial on next Wednesday, it could change everything we're talking about. But he's going to have monster games. It can't be 9, 6, and 4. It's got to be, like you said, 25, 15, and 5. I mean, you're going to have to be different. Meridian defensively is just too good to let that happen. I just don't see that happening. But listen, that's why we play the game. We give kids these opportunities to blow up. I'm excited. CUNA, even if CUNA loses that game, I think they fall to the 4 seed, which is still an auto bid, which is, massive for them. They do have to go play Centennial next week. They're going to need to win one of these games to get locked in and get a bye. But definitely a team we're talking about, the Barris brothers, Coulter Hoffler, who's an X factor, big 6'5" shooter, can rebound, but they defend, man, and that's a team that I can see making a state tournament, and a team that I would like to see get there, and they might, and we'll talk about that more later. I want to talk about Gabe Edens real quick. I watched them beat Rocky last night. I picked Rocky to upset them. Centennial had 1-2 big games at home against Timberline and Meridian. Then they go on the road to a gym that can be difficult to shoot in. It was senior night. Rocky fans showed out, and Rocky fans show out when they want to show out. There may not be a more difficult place to play besides Timberline when a team shows up and shows out. And Rocky was up at half, and they couldn't, Centennial couldn't get shots to fall. And then Henry Johnson came out in the second half with a completely different energy, and you could see it defensively change the game, was dropped a dime to Dylan Bolin. That was filthy. And then Gabe got going and reminded us all why he's the reigning player of the year. And for me, he's right there in the player of the year conversation because they're the 2 seed, because of what he consistently does. Like, he scores 20 and it's like, wait, he has 20 and he's averaging over 20, more assists than last year, more rebounds than last year. And they're going to get an auto bid, and they haven't been to the district tournament in 2 years. Gabe Edens is in the conversation for me as well as player of the year, or even co-player of the year, or whatever we decide to do, for us, because the coaches are going to choose. People are going to choose. We'll do our own thing just based on what we've seen. And we'll decide that. But, Silas Crane did a really good job on your boy Logan last night. Why he showed how well-rounded they were, and Rogers had 12, OB had 11, Kanan had 11, Jordan Allen had 14 and 5, and Logan had a down game, but Silas Crane, defensive player of the year potentially. Him and Mandy Chubbs are in that conversation. Henry Johnson, Jordan Allen, even Marcus Murray. But Silas Crane against a Division I point guard, in a semi big game for Capital, even though Waihe handled, but Capital was missing Dudley, who's a big factor for them on the boards and stuff. But Silas Crane had 5 steals and 7 rebounds and 6 assists, and defensive player of the year at this point, front runner for me is probably Silas Crane. But that's a tough game for Logan. Logan will respond. He will come back from that. He's still in the player of the year conversation. Quincy had 30. Quincy was a little bit more inefficient and has been a little bit more inefficient than I think he would like to be. I think he was 12 for 29, which, listen, 30 ball is a 30 ball. Against a team like Waihe, that's gonna need to be a 40 ball, and you're gonna need to be 16 for 28, not 12 for 29. If he's efficient, for me, they can play with anybody because the shooters around him. Dudley's got to be there on the glass, Dakin Low. Obviously, Silas Crane is the most underrated rebounder in the entire state. He's their second leading rebounder, maybe their leading rebounder at this point. So they can rebound with a Waihe. They need to be at full strength with Dudley there. Obviously, Simba's gone. But I think Capital is a type of team, if Quincy's efficient in that game, it's not you're down 30 at half, because they cut it to 10 in the fourth and show that they can play with him. But his efficiency is going to be how far they get for me.
So for me, with Quincy, the thing is, he draws so much attention. And the thing is, he shares the ball so well. But there's a couple times where he takes certain shots, which we know he can make, but if his shot's not already going, he could get something at the rim. I would like to see him attack the rim more so than even settle for these threes. And some of these threes that he pulls, I know he can make it from the logo. But at the same time, like as we talked about earlier, we know he can make that, but this is a situational thing. Watching the game yesterday, there was multiple opportunities where he was attacking the basket. He was getting whatever he wanted. He got to his floater extremely well, and that's when he started making some shots. Once he gets a couple floaters, a couple mid-range to go, a couple closer threes to go, then you can start casting away. But they're going to need more, because everybody knows Quincy Clay, to me, is the best overall athlete in the state of Idaho. Overall, no matter what sport, he is that guy. But in saying that, and what his ability on the court is, he's got to make sure that he gets those other guys easier shots, so that then the game could be easier for him, to where he doesn't face the running doubles, where he can see exactly which lanes he can get into, because as soon as he drives, everybody's in the paint.
And they got shooters.
And they have shooters everywhere. And so for me, some of those shots that he takes, certain times I'm like, you could have got a better one than that. You could have got a better one than that. And I know you can make it, right? And it's all great when he's making it Mountain View 51. But at the same time, those guys, they start to get stagnant. They start to watch. And then that kind of puts Capital, which is a fast-paced team that has a bunch of guys that can contribute to it, where they kind of watch. And he needs those guys to be ready at all times, because him and Silas Crane are the engine. Like Silas is the defensive engine and he is the offensive engine. And so for me, yes, he can make those shots, but he does got to be a little bit more efficient for them to really be the team that's going to go and upset a bunch of these other teams, because they can beat anybody.
I agree. And Silas Crane is a dime dropper also. Tannen Everhart got a strap. Petros can shoot it. I mean, they got Isaac Stafford, the other sophomore. They're young. They can shoot the ball. So I agree with you. His efficiency and getting these guys open looks and in a rhythm, which is going to simplify it for him, is vital. But they can make a run to the state tournament. But we're at about an hour now. We will end with this. I wanted to talk a little bit about Tobin Knutson and what he did against Meridian. He had 26. I wanted to touch on this because he was unbelievable. And it's not fair to him that he's playing on the same team as the reigning SIC Player of the Year, but he is doing what he's doing because he is playing on the same team as the reigning SIC Player of the Year. Gabe has continued to develop and do what he did last year, as Tobin has developed as well, because they have two guys averaging over 20 points a game. And Tobin Knutson we should be sitting here being like, this kid, the Player of the Year conversation. The fact of the matter is, you're not going to give it to him over Gabe, because Gabe's been doing it, and Tobin has come up and he's joined the party. But Tobin,
I mean, you could give it to him.
He could be Player of the Year. Tobin Knutson could be Player of the Year, and I'm just going to say, I personally wouldn't give it to him over Gabe, because Gabe was reigning Player of the Year and has been doing it. Wouldn't make sense to me, and I think Tobin can appreciate that. But Tobin Knutson can carry his team to a state championship. He's that type of guy, bro. And Gabe's the same way. And Henry Johnson, once again, is also the same type of guy. He is way better than any of you out there even understand.
Henry Johnson is one of the best players in Idaho, and another guy that you could actually, in my opinion, even consider as a player of the year candidate at this point. What I saw him do and turn it on defensively, he emotionally and up here keeps it together. And keep going, Gabe. Keep going, Tobe. I got you. I'm going to make it easier. Oh, no, my turn. Bop, 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 bop. 14 in 3 minutes. Like, It's like, dude, Henry Johnson is in that. They're three-headed monster. They have the best trio in the state. For me, that's the best trio in the state, better than any Owyhee trio, better than any Meridian trio. That trio is the scariest. And if they get to the state tournament, bro, might be a team I pick to win it. They just got to rebound. Kurt's got to stay on the floor.
Yeah.
But anyway, I had to give Tobin his flowers because what he did against Meridian and Drake Hope, our potentially front runner for player of the year, he threw himself in the conversation and he needs to be talked about. Henry Johnson as well. Centennial is the 2 seed and they are doing it. And so thank you guys for listening to us talk for an hour. Shout out to our families again, all of our sponsorships, Shigon, Churro Bros, IK PICA. We're going to start implementing more. And of course, Eagle Ridge Apparel. Shout out to Donovan Sainer, the Flame Game over there. Maddie Simmons, Caden Simmons, and Wyoming commit, Miss Zoe Blackwell. Good luck to all the girls in the district tournament. We're going to get out, show you all some love. And by the time this drops, it'll be district championship time. And we'll touch on that. But thank you for joining us for season 2, episode 4 of Hooper's Delight. You got to get to a training per usual. Strive. We appreciate you, baby. Hooper's Delight, baby.
We out.